everyone. Today we're going to talk about how to make a reference in APA format. Specifically, this video is aimed at making a reference for a peer-reviewed article, which is the vast majority of what we're going to be citing, at least in psychology. But I will be doing some videos on how to cite book sources, chapters, things like that in the future. But we're going to start with how to cite a peer-reviewed article. So this is my most recent publication here. It was published in Personality and Individual Differences, and we can see that the title is right here. So the first thing with an APA format citation is you're going to need the authors. So I'm going to come over here to my Microsoft Word document, and I'm just going to start, actually, if this was a reference list, I'd have the word references right here at the front and center. And then I'm going to come down, right? So I need to start with the author's names, and it's always the last name. So Brand, comma, O, period, because this was made with Olivia Brand, or this article was published with my student Olivia Brand. So it'd be last name, comma, first initial, comma, or period, middle initial. And then I'm going to do another comma. Now, if there were three authors, I would just do the second author here. So let's say it was my buddy Stuart Miller. I'd do Miller, S, S. That would be the second author. And then let's say that I'm the third author on this. So I'm going to do O'Day, comma, C, J. But now, because I'm the last author, what I need to do is I need to put an ampersand in there to say, Olivia Brand, Stuart Miller, and Connor O'Day. Now, if it's like this article actually was, I would take out Stuart Miller, and I would have Brand, O-R, comma, and O'Day, C-J. And you just get into the habit of this, right? Like, a lot of people have a tendency to use citation builders and just take the stuff from maybe PsycInfo or Google Scholar. Don't do that. Make your own citations, because those things mess it up all the time. I promise. Then we're going to do open parentheses, and we're going to do the year. So this currently, let's act like it was published in 2021. Actually, it's an online first article, so it actually hasn't come out in print yet. But we're just going to do the year there. I'm going to put a period, and now I'm ready for the title of the paper. Now, what a lot of people think that the title should be is just like how a book title would be, where you capitalize every single word except the words like to and the. But actually, articles, you only capitalize the first word, and then if there's a colon or something, you would capitalize the first thing after the colon. So actually, in our title here, we don't have a colon here, we actually have a question mark. So I'm going to do exactly how you see it right here. So less of a man, question mark, and then I'm going to capitalize the M here because it came after the punctuation. Now, if there was a college or something like less of a man, examination of masculine honor beliefs at Union College, we would still capitalize Union College, just like you would capitalize someone's name. So in that case, we would still capitalize it, but you can see here I'm going to type exactly as is, where I'm capitalizing only the L and the M. So let me go ahead, I'll just copy this over and I'll do it as just plain text. That way we can go quickly here. So you see how I have capitalized this, I've capitalized that, nothing else is capitalized. And some students have a tendency to actually do this italics. It's not in italics, actually, it's just as is. So then I'm going to put a period, and next I'm going to actually shift into italics. I'm going to hit Control-I, and by the way, get familiar with these, the keyboard shortcuts. It makes it a lot easier. So then I'm going to type personality and individual differences. And I'm going to do a comma. This was published, you can see here, it was published in volume 186, part A. So I'm going to do comma 186. And then I'm going to stop the italics. This is actually really key here. You got to stop the italics now. And I'm going to do open parentheses. Usually this is a number, but apparently personality and individual differences is weird. So the issue is A instead of a number. But more often than not, this will actually be a number there. So I'm going to do A, and then I'm going to do comma, and this is where I would do the page numbers. Because this article hasn't been officially published in print, there actually aren't page numbers, but let's say, it was like 115 through 125. Then I would put a period. And then finally, we would just, if the journal requires it, I'll be honest, this is where I stop 99% of the time. This is where I stop. Some journals require that you put the DOI number in which case what you would do is you would just do DOI, and you actually stop it from uppercase in the DOI there. So you're going to do DOI, and then you're going to copy in this URL, and you're going to do it just keep text only. So now we're ready to go. And sometimes journals, depending on the format of the journal, you know, there is specific APA format on how to do this. And I think that they just actually updated the format of this. This is what I see more often than not. Sometimes I see this. And again, this isn't 100% APA on the DOI format. You want, if your teacher or your instructor requires pure APA format, then go check this DOI out, how you do it that way. I'm showing you what most journals require. Most journals require that you do the DOI colon, and then you do this, you start at the number, or you have that full URL there. It just kind of depends on the journal. Most journals actually that I submit to, you don't even need it, so I don't put it in there. So the last thing that I'm going to show you how to do is how to do actually the hanging indent, because you know on APA format actually this line here and this line here are both indented. Now what a lot of students have a tendency to do is to hit tab and that would indent it, but you can't do it that way. So other students hit enter and then tab, and then they come down here and hit enter and tab again, or things like that. Actually, that's not going to work very effectively, because if it's in a different word processor, maybe you convert it to a PDF later, it's not going to convert well. So actually what you want to do is you want to grab this whole thing and use this thing that you've probably never used before in your life. But it's this little ruler up here. And by the way, if your ruler isn't showing, you just come to view and then check ruler. And then you grab not the top one, not the bottom one, but you grab this middle one and you indent it just like that to 1/2 inch. To 1/2 inch there on your ruler. Now you've got that hanging indent, no matter if you shift from, you know, portrait mode. See how if I shift from portrait to landscape, it keeps it, it still does it properly. Let's look at what would happen if it wasn't in the way that I just did that with the hanging indent. Let's act like I did enter, tab, enter, tab. If I switch to landscape mode, well, look what just happened. It's no longer going to the edge of the paper. It's taking up this strange space in the middle. So make sure you use those hanging indents. So like I said, use that hanging indent. All you gotta do is, once you get done with the whole thing, highlight your whole reference list. Highlight your whole reference list, grab this weird little triangle thing, don't grab the bottom thing, then you got your hanging indent, and this is how you do APA format citations. If you have any questions, drop them below. Make sure you like and subscribe this video, and I'll be doing some reference list on how to do book chapters, books, and other sources as well. Have a great rest of your day, and please let me know if you have any questions. Now I did want to have just a quick thing at the end here, that way if people wanted to jump ahead and forget all the rest, this is what it is. So APA format, you put the first author, their last name, comma, first initial, period, middle initial, comma, ampersand here, and then you do the second author the same way. If there's 3 authors, you would add them here before the ampersand. For the year, you're going to put this in parentheses, the year of the publication, followed by a period. Next, you're going to do in lowercase text format, not book chapter or book title format. So you'll notice I'm only capitalizing the first letter at the beginning and the first letter after this question mark. You're going to do less of a man, masculine honor belief, so you do the full title right there. You're going to follow that with a period. Next, you're going to do the journal in italics, comma, and you're going to stay in italics. This is going to be the volume number. And then in parentheses, not italics, again, not italics, you're going to do the issue number or the issue letter. And then you're going to follow that with a comma, and you're going to give the page numbers for that article. So if you have any other questions, again, please let me know.